There we go. Welcome, everybody. Alright. I don't know what's been going on with my situation I have over here. It's being a real big turd burglar, and it usually isn't. So it's annoying. But doesn't really matter, because we'll be able to maneuver without it. I think it's just a processing situation, maybe. Like how my chat window doesn't want to seem to be on. Why are you... Why? Why? Uh, can't have nothing nice in South Central. Anyway. Too many things not wanting to load, and it's whatever. So, let's get into the brass tacks. So, everybody, welcome. For those of you who are joining us, you should be seeing that I have a different name on the channel here. The reason for that is that I've decided to go through a little bit of, I guess you could call it rebranding for what we're going to be doing going forward, as my hope is to, one, do something a bit more professional, productive, whatever you want to call it here, with our dear friends, among other ones, and other collaborators and such that I'd be working with. So it's kind of just a long, short answer of we're trying to just rebuild what we had. So now, instead of being known as Burn the Priest, this channel is now going underneath the name of Grim Hour Productions, which is going to be a little cluster of creative energy that I'll be putting forward, helping write some books, do some stories, maybe do some world building for people. It gives me a little bit of a platform to do more professional things, which I'm excited for, looking forward to potentially getting a Patreon up later on for doing writing, for doing art prints. You know, there's a lot of things on the docket, but I needed to have a better outward appearance for it, which is what this is. But circling back to what we are, welcome to Beyond Etheria Ashes. This is episode 34, known as the Circuit. With us tonight is four of our players. Our other fifth player, Jenna, who plays Aura, the Dryad Sea Elf, is not here at the moment. We're not sure she will be here. Last session she was very sick. She has not responded, so we're going to go along with it. So, introductions for those who haven't seen us before is that my name is Burn. I also go by Grim, hence the title change. I am the Dungeon Master. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been world building for 20 years. My biggest accolade is the fact I built an entire galactic quadrant for a 14-person campaign. So that was a lot of fun. With us tonight, we have our Lionfolk Barbarian, going by the name of Okros, who's played by our dear friend Rexus. You can find here on Twitch as well.
Hello.
We have one of our newcomers, who's played by our dear friend Zoe. This is his first campaign, first official D&D situation he's in. And he's playing a artificer, not an artificer. He's playing something interesting.
Warlock.
He's playing a warlock named Adarian, who is a Yanti.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I couldn't remember if you were
Hello.
cleric or warlock or some weird shenaniganizer. You're a medic. That's
You
all I
did good.
remember. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Your praise means everything to me. And then, of course, we have our actual artificer, the Changeling, Mr. Nez, who's played by Stealth Rage 7, who is, again, also on Twitch. You can find him here.
If I want to unmute, hello.
How long have we been doing this? And you keep forget to hit the button, you know?
Or nah, the button just didn't want to work.
I mean, that's also fair. Sometimes technology says no. And then last but certainly not least is my dear friend Blackburn, who is playing the keystone character who has rightfully thrust himself into that role magnificently for the past almost 2.5 years, Mr. Creed, the Tiefling Paladin of the Glass Keep.
Pleasure to have you as always.
And so, as a recap from what happened last time, is that the heroes had on a whim decided to go to the Glass Keep as they had heard there were survivors there. The Glass Keep, they had been told, was abandoned. It was on the part of the region that was completely controlled by the gods in the Godfall. It was being ravaged by demonic forces and other underlings and things of mythology that had just caused a problem. And so the Glass Keep was considered lost, especially as the last time Creed was there, 14-ish years ago now, with normal time change, is that it was assaulted by Crom and his cronies and had a bunch of very large holes punched into it, making it more of the glass Swiss cheese than the Glass Keep. After being told that survivors were possibly there, the party, on a whim, with Okros being the moral compass, decided to go forward and make sure that if anyone was really there, that they got the support from the resistance leaders they were, because it'd be better to check and find nothing than to ignore it and find out that they could have helped save lives. Once arriving there, they found that there were a number of people in the Glass Keep fighting off mythological creatures, minotaurs, imps, shamblers, etc. Creatures from mythology of the Greco-Roman persuasion that seemed to be assaulting the keep, being met with crossbows and muzzle fire. As they approached, they were essentially introduced by a number of what looked to be almost ramshackle soldiers that didn't seem to look like anything they've noticed before. The only person in the party having experience dealing with these specific individuals being Creed, who knew what a human looked like. The rest of the players, of course, had never seen a human in their entire lives. So seeing 180 of them holding down this fort from all different time periods, ranging from Crusaders and Conquistadors to, of course, modern-day soldiers of the 82nd Airborne, holding the line for no reason other than the fact that they know they are here, they are being attacked, and therefore they have to push them back. That came down to a large assault phase where the players were able to navigate and use the now human soldiers at their disposal that were at their flank to push back the assault and give them an opening to go after Crom, who was leading the force directly to the Glass Keep. Through a number of flurries and blows, losing of a few units, and a number of lives in the process, the heroes are able to strike Crom down to his knee and throw him into the dirt. But not before another large force came forward, as Ares popped in front of them with a legion of crimson-shielded troopers and began to charge them, seeing that if he killed Creed and the rest of the heroes, that not only would no longer be a thorn in his side, but also maybe he would be able to put one up on his dear brother Zeus, who has been a bigger thorn in his side as well. And nothing screams better sibling rivalry than stealing the bragging rights from underneath your older brother. So, as the party found themselves being charged by now a legion of thousands of these soldiers they have fought previously, a gate opened up in the doorway, leading to the Glass Keep of green ethereal energy, a voice whispering to them to run. And so they did. They ran through it and they dove through it without taking a second hesitation, as they all seemed to fall onto a harsh pile of stones, cold to the touch and perfectly cut. And as they all kind of regained their senses, multiple braziers puffed into blue-green fire all around the chamber, as they saw the entrance leading into this chamber was caved in completely and seems to have been sealed for many, many years, while a single obsidian throne sat beneath a large, almost intricately woven silver square behind it that seemed to have a large piece of it broken out, as the silver square seemed to glow with that same blue-green energy, and a skeleton holding a glass box sat on that obsidian throne. And that is where we start today. So, you, my dear players, have all witnessed this scene. You have fallen onto the stone, you've picked yourselves up, and you've all brought your eyes to this singular throne, which is backed to a large silver wire-strung square. It seems made of thousands of intricately pulled and folded wires that all seem to glow with the same blue-green energy that comes from the flames and the braziers around you. On that throne is a singular skeleton wearing black-clad armor. Its hair, or what's left of it, long and gray and piecing to the skull. On its head, a silver crown and in its hands, a glass box that now lays ajar in its lap. So I'm retrieving my talking stick to turn off my lights. Are you guys there?
I'm thinking. So I'm trying to figure out how to word a question.
Okay.
Um,
I'm trying to figure out why your talking stick is a buster sword.
I'm
It's
presuming.
an eviscerator, but close.
Oh, I'm assuming Creed's gonna recognize him as Max.
Yes, you would recognize where you are. It would take you a minute, but you'd recognize that you were inside the Broken Spire.
Is it Broken Spire and Max is on the throne? Creed's just gonna get up and kind of dust himself off and look at Max and go, "You've certainly looked better."
Crom is off the board. Yeah, so the rest of you see Creed kind of pull himself together as he looks around, dusting himself off, as he walks up towards the skeleton that's on the throne and seems to speak to it like he would speak to an old friend.
Is this an acquaintance of yours, Creed?
I suppose that's a word you could go with. Well, I'm not sure if you would know him of legend, but meet Max, the Undying King. I believe that was his title.
It was. You were correct.
Good. Cool. Realized as soon as I said it, I started second guessing myself.
It happens.
Uh, these lights look pretty similar to what we flew by. Are we possibly at the spire then?
I'd say it's a safe bet.
Speaking of safe bets, how safe are we here?
I don't. Something I.
Well, at least we don't have Ares on us right now. I'm going to be checking over Lucifer because I know he got a beating.
Lucifer seems intact. Maybe having a couple of dings there, maybe in need of a calibration, but otherwise seems well enough.
Creed is going to approach the throne.
You do so.
How bad is he?
He's a skeleton in his armor. Just a pretty well-preserved skeleton, honestly.
I know I understand it seems like a silly question to ask, but in the context of deity, he's actually just bones.
Yeah,
Like
it's straight
he's
up
not
bones.
okay.
It's not like like a fucking Divinity Original Sin where he's like an undead and he's a skeleton. No, it is just a skeleton. It, like it is just bones.
Um How much space is around the throne?
I would say there's about the back of the throne is basically flush with the drop off of the platform you're standing on. Then there's about a 20-foot gap between the platform and the circuit. Around the throne on either side, it's like a 15-foot to the edge on either side of the throne, and the throne itself is about 4 feet off the ground on a little staircase.
Creed's going to get as close to still is to the body, and he's just going to drop to a knee and just like gingerly reach out to touch the armor.
You do so. It creaks and shifts underneath the pressure, as it hasn't been acted upon by forces in quite some time, but it's there, and you feel it just a cold sense of just loss seep through it.
Do I feel anything from my tattoo?
You feel a little bit as if this place is familiar, not just to you, but to the part of him that sits with you.
I realized as soon as I said I want to touch it, I was like, I have the mark on my arm. I have a feeling something bad's about to happen.
It's
Okay.
with
Cool.
the mark on your hand kind of burns a little warm, as it just essentially makes you feel like this place is a familiar place. Less of, oh, you've been here before, you know it is, but almost how you would feel going to a friend's house or your own, where it feels comforting. Otherwise, it doesn't seem to do much, except that if you were to look at it, which you can't look at it underneath your gauntlets, it would be moving slightly in its circular pattern as you were close to the source of the circuit.
Creed is going to remove his cloak and drape it over Max's body.
Easy enough.
I would. You wish to know if this place is safe, Darian? I would say no one's been here for quite. I would say we're safe.
And Darian, as you look around, as Creed replies that he believes that you are safe here, that no one has been here, you can tell that along the stones there are thick layers of dust. That it's that his words ring true, is that no one has been here. But between that and the evidence of the cave-in at the entrance, is that this has been a tucked away spot of the world for the past 14 years.
I think then, considering everything we've been through and the condition of our members, we should consider resting here.
I would not be opposed to a rest. Good rest, and maybe you could brew a cup of coffee. Of course.
So you all decide to take the moment to rest. You pull out your bedrolls as Ogros pulls out his kitchenette, and you all just kind of set up near the base of the stairs near the throne. all taking your own spots as you tend to your wounds, your armor, your equipment, and otherwise. Making sure that you are taking care of yourselves, so that way you can make sure you can take care of others. It's hard to tell whether it's day or night from where you sit, as it is a enclosed space with very little ability to see out. But as you all sit there, you feel a sense of eyes upon you, not in the sense of a maleficence or a malevolent force, but just as if something is watching you from afar, a sentry on duty that you did not know was here. It seems to be a calming presence, one that seems to wrap your minds in a warm blanket of change, of comfort, one that most of you have not been privy to in quite some time. And as you all rest, coffee being brewed, food being made, as you ramp and bandage yourselves, between Adarian passing out basic first aid supplies and Nez checking on everyone's equipment with his helping hands, Okar's making sure everyone has a full stomach, as Creed sits and reads prayers and excerpts from the journal he has. It is quiet. Again, something that you are all not privy to on the day-to-day basis. Eventually, you all find yourselves taking turns going to sleep and resting, getting yourselves a long rest in turn, as nothing seems to interrupt you here. The sounds of battle, absent. The sounds of the world, even, absent within this chamber. The only sound, a dull rumble, almost like a hum of a large circuit echoing within the walls. And as each of you sleep, you all seem to have the same flashes of imagery. All of you seem to envision others. Something of the circuit reaching out to you, almost as if giving you eyes that travel across the great oceans. You feel your eyes travel far east as they come across a shore. A shore that is besieged by a monster in a necropolis. You see his towers crumble. You see him slain. And you see 3 heroes walking off into the distance. An Aarakocra, a dwarf made of metal, and an elf with gauntlets. All seeming to take their own pathway outward as the necropolis falls and the land seems to take a turn for the better. Airships and dragons seeming to fly around in mischievous patterns as the world seems a little bit brighter. Ships that leave from the region that you're in, meeting at their docks as they are given a new life. Most of you did not know that there was a region outside of where you live. Your worlds have been small, focused. But then something pulls you further out. Your eyes continue moving east over this region of circular landmass surrounding an ancient necropolis as it continues over even more ocean until it rests on a large landmass. One that seems to be in the same hemisphere you are. Though you can clearly see through the eyes of whoever you look through that the lands here are both tormented and saved underneath chaos and order, as large individuals that mimic that of the gods that you have found here walk amongst the people. They seem to be not villains, but they seem to be living. One in particular seems to be taking the best of he can of the humans that are under his care. Glowing golden armor wrapping his body as he seems to walk through towns, celebrated. Others behind him all wearing monochromatic armor sets, seeming to match his pace. As he seems to move between cities, as though some become ravaged by war, famine, and otherwise, that it is quickly subverted. And it becomes a question through the eyes of whatever you watch of if he knows what's truly going on. But it seems that he is worshipped for everything he is. But then your eyes pull yourself even further, going across another great ocean as it follows a bird's eye view as you see 3 large land masses with islands in between, scattering like stones in a lake, connecting it like dots on a map. As you see down here, magic has become scarce, siphoned away. Those that wish to use such magics have to wear devices upon their arms and limbs, channeling divine energies and whatever abysmal amounts of magic they can muster for powerful spells that ripple the very ground they stand on. Boats seem to be the main mode of transportation as naval battles rip through islands, turn them into glass plains before they're even given a chance to form. These dreams encirculate the fact that the world that you live in is smaller than you once thought, and that they are all living their own lives, whether they're living it for better or worse. But the main focus being is that if you can stop the godfall here, the rest of these lands will not be hit by it. But it seems that your region is the only one affected by the break in this veil, by the ashes of the wake that followed it. And as you all awaken, your normal circadian rhythms waking you up from the din of your own sleep, as the braziers that had dimmed when you took your rest seeming to now brighten upon the awakening of the heroes in its presence. You are greeted by the same warming caress that allowed you to take that sleep. A deep, accented voice seems to echo out from the shadows. The same voice that seemed to whisper to you from the gateway when you were assaulted by Ares. Oh yeah, it seems that you have finally made your way. It's been quite some time watching you from afar. Been quite a long time of waiting for the moment to give you a chance. And it seems I chose right. Unfortunately, it seems that my choices were incorrect on most circumstances or otherwise, as the humans that had stand with you seem to have been removed from the game set. Unfortunate as it may be, they knew the risks. That's why they were brought here. As a favor. And now you have been brought before me, so that we can figure out what you need to do next. And as all your eyes are drawn to this voice, a large 7-foot, if not more, figure comes out from the shadows, wearing a deep blue cloak and tunic that seems to hold onto his body, a almost skirt that seems to go around his body as it comes up and over his shoulder, as Creed remembers this being described as a kilt by one of his human companions. On his head, a brazen brass crown, adorned with 2 large stag antlers, as he has a large blonde and brown beard resting on his chin, his hair pulled back underneath the crown as he has a regal stature, gold pieces of jewelry hanging from his neck, as a staff that resembles that of a shepherd's crook hangs in his hand, the end of it knobbed and gnawed from the number of times it's had to be used as a weapon. He goes, well, it's... the light's not going to kick you out yourself. Wake up now. I imagine you have questions for the king of the underworld.
Did you just say the king of the underworld?
That would be correct. That is what my title is. As you might not know me, but my name is Aren. I am the Celtic king of the underworld. As those words may not mean much to you, that is what my role is in this world of ours.
Whereas Hades is the other god of the underworld?
He is a cousin, if you will. It's, let me put it to you in a sense that makes a bit more of a privy guess. Is that if you go to different regions, you'll find different types of food. Yes, same ingredients, same preparation, different names, different ways of putting it together. I am the one hand where he is the other. He is from what is known as the Greeks, a clever group that lived near a large ocean where I am from. Whereas I am from the Celts, a group of Star Wars survivors on an island that also traded and lived with another group known as the Scots that was on another island. And we both hated the English, which lived on the same island as the Scots, which, as you can imagine, led to a number of difficulties in the many centuries that we had to exist. Humans were very good at giving the same names and same descriptions to gods of the same caliber. I, though, had other titles. I was the Prince of the Hunt, Lord of the Bloodsport, and, of course, a wonderful trickster, as well as a leader of the Wise Word. Humans gave us many names, many titles, and even though that I do not feel their belief as much as I once did, where my powers would be something of that of impressive acts of mercy, now are but of that of trivial parlor tricks, if given the right moment. But yes, Hades is equivalent to me, as I am to him. But as you can tell, he's a bit of a dickhead.
Just a bit. Well, it's good to know that not all gods are of the same disposition. Well, I mean, we did know that already, but more than just one.
Yes, I imagine you spoke with Shiva before you came up this way.
Aye, that we did.
He was one that I helped to make sure that he got away from this area and got it to a spot where he could do some more good. A strange one, that man is. A interesting fellow. Good for his word and good for a good fight, but otherwise strange. That's coming from me. But now, I believe we have some other business to attain, and also to speak of in kind. So, please, pull yourselves up, pull yourselves together, give yourselves time to process. If you have not been told by your dear leader, you are here in the Broken Spire. A place of sanctuary and a place of revelation that we'll have to take care of for a moment. So, take your time, breathe, eat, wake, and when you're ready, we will talk about where you need to go next. And so we are going to take a quick 3-minute break as I wait for these ads to roll over in about 20 seconds. And when they do, we'll go to the break screen. We'll give our party members about 3 minutes to kind of think of some things, give a little bit of time to ponder, everyone to kind of get a drink, go use the toilet, etc. You're not going to miss anything because I like to pause it in between our ads. And when you come back, the party will have their answer for Arwen. So just make sure that this kicks over like I want it to. Because apparently it's been removing my buttons from my click actions. Is it going to run? Hiya! Fine. I'll do it myself. No, I had to click my own buttons. What the fuck is this? Why can't I have things automated?
Click it.
I did.
Karate chop it!
All right. So we got 3 minutes where we can sit here and chat while it cooks down. So you guys can talk amongst yourselves about other things while we wait for the things for it. But otherwise, Carson came in with 69 biddies going, Happy Friday. Greenland sharks are slow swimmers, but are apex predators that hunt marine mammals, reindeer, and polar bears. They hunt polar bears.
Damn.
Who? I mean, you don't have to be fast if you catch a polar bear by the leg and just have the strength to drown it.
Yep. This death rolls, baby. This works smarter, not harder.
Indeed.
So
They're
how
also
is...
poisonous, I believe.
Oh,
Unless,
yeah, they're poisonous to eat, I think.
yes, unless you bury the meat underground and let it ferment for a while, and then it's edible, apparently.
Yeah, you gotta do the cold fermentation.
Yo.
So, while waiting on these ads to kick over, how has everyone's week been?
Exhausting.
Ah, very
Miserable.
Happy to be here.
good. Happy to be here. Yeah,
Because
very happy to
God,
be
this
here.
week sucked.
yeah.
Been kind of looking forward to this, actually. This is ended on a cliffhanger last time, and I can't fucking stand that. It's been bugging me for 2 weeks now.
You better get used to it. That's how this game rolls.
I'll
my
be
friend.
real with you. It bothered me at the beginning. I've sort of got used to it at this point. It doesn't even faze me anymore.
Fair enough.
Blackburn's been dealing
It
with
just
my
gives me
ass for
something
like
to look
7 years at this point. He knows how I do
I'm
my
sorry.
storytelling.
I'm sorry. I went from we were leading this big charge, and this is like the finale, to, by the way, you're meeting the G-Man, you're being pulled into the future. So, I'll see you guys in like 3 months.
Yeah, we had that, and then it was like, oh, hey, we're taking a 3-month hiatus while I finish writing the campaign. Everyone was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So, like I said, it doesn't really bother me.
Surprise! But it's yeah, you get used to it. It's flavorful cliffhangers. I don't just do it all the time. I do it when it's dramatically necessary.
Oh, it was a great cliffhanger. It was just frustrating as fuck. That's all.
Yes. Ah, yes. I do love me frustrating my players. With the
Indeed.
ads finished, it seems that it's time for us to answer the questions. As you were all in front of Arwen, who has seemingly appeared from the shadows, has told you a little bit of who he is and what his job entails, and now basically waits for all of you to essentially shake the rust out and see what you have to say.
All right, I have a mythology question before I want to ask him any.
Shoot.
Out of character.
Shoot.
So, you may not even know this. I might have to go bother someone else for a second.
Go
So,
for it.
like, with multiple gods of the dead, do they all know what happens to souls? Like, if I died right now, poof, you know, my head explodes or something. Like, do all the gods of death know where I went?
So
It would
that is
first-
a funny question that was actually brought up earlier by Carson when I was talking to her, because as she noticed, a lot of the gods overlapped, and I said, well, the way the gods work in this world that I've created is that they are either brought forward by belief, very much like Disney's Hercules, where he has to have the belief of the people behind him as well as completing his 12 ordeals to become a quote-unquote god, regain his godhood, go join his father on Olympus, whatever. You know, the nice version of the Hercules story. Or in the sense of 40K, where if there's enough belief of a singular entity, they become real. They take the headcanon approach, where if you doubt in the Chaos Gods enough, you will create a Chaos God of doubt, or something equivalent to that line, because the Well of Souls has been tainted, etc. The other way that can happen here is that they can be what's known as self-imposed, where they themselves may have powers over certain things, but they are so powerful or so have such longevity or otherwise that they just kind of exist in a role that was they were shoehorned into, or they shoehorned themselves into. So in this instance, you can look at Arwen as a ranger necromancer and Hades as just a necromancer. Whereas in the world they come from, our world, Arwen would have been able to tell you where the souls were going under his care in the region he was taking care of. So that would be over the Celtic lands, whereas Hades would know it over the how far the pantheon stretched during the Greco-Roman era. So if someone died in Sparta, he would know about it, but if someone dies in, Rome, he may not know about it, depending on where the reach of the pantheon is. And that's kind of where it goes, is that there are no metaphorical gods. Like they're not they're not omnipotent, they're not invincible, they bleed, they have problems, because they're still technically beings that exist in front of you. They're still corporeal. They just are way fucking overpowered compared to everything else you've seen. So if you died right now, they'd probably both be able to see your soul and then fight over it.
Okay, all right.
Because you're underneath their domes of influence.
I get it. Because I know the two questions that immediately come to mind, but I wasn't sure. Okay, that makes sense. I guess I'm still gonna ask him, but I was just kind of curious.
Yeah, it'd be the same thing if you brought in Thanatos, who's the more Roman-esque side of the Avatar of Death. If you had him, Hades, and Arwen in the room together, they could all tell you when you're going to die, or when you die, where your soul goes, because they're all near you at the same time. But if there's one of them, only they'd be able to do it. It's very much akin to just kind of domes of influence.
All right.
Yeah.
Would anyone else like to ask questions first?
I don't have any questions.
I got nothing,
No.
Chief.
Creed is going to stand up and just look him directly in the eye. There are only two questions I wish to have answers to. The first is where the fallen of the Glass Keep will be going. And do you know where Max?
He kind of plays with his beard for a second as he looks at you, closes his eyes, and he thinks before he responds. He goes, I can tell you that the humans that you had with you standing at the Glass Keep was that when they fell, they went home. Wherever that home may be, they went home. They were brought here as a boon, as a loophole that I found that I could utilize through the circuit that's behind you. I brought them here, much like how your friends were brought here the first time. It was just that through a different mechanism, through a different means, and an end to those means, they were brought here. I could not bring living people to this world, but I could bring those of the recently deceased. So, you needed soldiers, Crom needed to be killed, Ares needed to draw his trump card. So, I asked for help. And now that they have fought to the last man again, they have done their duties, they have lived their lives, they have gone to wherever they believe is where they're going. Whether it's Valhalla, whether it's the Great Green Fields, or Fiddler's Green, as some of them would call it, that is where they've gone. As for Max, he is a different case. I imagine you've spoken with him, as I can sense a piece of him on you.
I have.
I imagine you've spoken with his brothers, Tiberius and Carfel.
I have.
The three of them have become a moving force among the spirits that inhabit this land. They've turned into what is known as a trinity, which, if she was here, she'd be able to explore it. Lefay Morrigan, God bless her. If she was here, she'd be a great deal of help, but I haven't seen her since the veil broke. But they have become a trifecta, a trinity, the beginning, the middle, and the end of what they believe was the human conflict and sacrifice. So he's here, not here, mind you, he's on this plane, but it feels that his anchor is not with the skeleton that you stand in front of. Much akin to other spirits, they would hold on to the last piece of their material well-being, whether it may have been an item or their corpse, maybe a family member or a pendant. He seems to be anchored to something else. I can't tell exactly what or where, but I have a feeling I know where he may be, and you're not going to like the answer.
I suppose he's a Zeus.
He breathes heavily as he kind of looks down at his hands. And he looks back to you and goes, yes, there is the ability that I've been able to trace is that with you here, and you being a semi-permanent anchor of the Trinity, having the Sword of Tiberius and the Book of Max, as well as the Blessing of Carfel, that I can feel where he is. Tiberius, of course, has passed centuries ago, along with Carfel, and so they have been buried and taken to dust, back to ashes to ashes. Max, though, seems his anchor is still well and fit, which is strange, seeing that there's a fucking skeleton in the throne. But it seems that he's in high charity. How and why are two very important questions that I won't answer, because messing with the balance of life and death goes about as against of what I stand for as, fuck putting sour cream on sweet potatoes. What's up? That'll give you a fucking giggle. I heard you. But yes, to answer your question, Creed, is that it seems that his anchor is in high charity. And that's a problem. Because if his anchor is here still and he has not fully passed on, that means that whatever magic that he had in his possession during his death as the Undying King is still linked to him. It has not been erased. As you can clearly tell by the circuit coming back to life again.
Real quick, out of character.
Yeah.
Did we know what the circuit is?
No one knows what the circuit is. All you know is this weird fucking square thing behind you.
He just keeps referring to it as a circuit and like pointing at it, but
Yeah.
we're just like, huh?
Yeah, even Creed has very vague knowledge about it because it was thrumming with energy when he was originally here, but it was never explained of what the fuck is that.
It's the circuit of life.
Don't spoil my shit.
Then my character wants to go. You keep referring to the circuit, but I don't know what that is.
I guess you wouldn't have been told. Most of you were born here. Well, the only one of you that was been here before the calamity, before the Godfall, before the piercing of the veil, would have been Creed. When the Titans roamed the plains and brought much havoc down upon these lands. Well, let me explain. And he smacks his staff against the ground 3 times as you see braziers along the wall of the circuit light up as you now see it in full view, in full lit up imagery of what it is, of where the wires that you saw that were so intricately pulled and seemed to glow with this energy, as you are now staring at it away from it, you said it is almost a square-like shape, but you can clearly see that at the caps of it, at the very top, is a mouth of a serpent and the tail end of a serpent, and between them energy arcs between. Something that looks very similar to Creed's tattoo on his hand of the Ouroboros. The circuit, this magnificent piece of, I would say, technology or magic, it's really hard to tell what the fuck it was, but it was meant to be something of a containment system, or something equivalent to it. When the spire that you stand in now was built, before it was broken, it was meant to be a spear that pierced the heavens. It was meant to be something of an achievement brought forth by those here. It was meant to bring forth a control of magic, a control of understanding of containment, and the balance of that it restored. Unfortunately, when everything fell down, the tower fell to pieces as the last waves of anti-magic were pushed out the dome, falling as the human war went through it. It's, unfortunately, what was used to create the box that sits upon Max's lap. It was what contained the gods that you have been fighting. To put it in simple terms, I think it's a bit time that you have a bit of a history lesson. How much do you know of the history of the land that you were all born into?
I would say I know an uncomfortable amount more than the average person.
Creed, you're the only exception to this question, as you witness it.
He's just gonna like do the whole raise his hands and like mock surrender and like take a step to the side. Like, sorry.
But for the rest of you, a quick lesson in history. None of you have seen a human before, except today. Those that you fought with the rare, weird, rounded ears, and the ability to stand on their feet to fight to the bitter end, to seem to be nigh unkillable until it was time for them to fall. Sturdy, aggressive, pack bonding, and zealots. They were humans. They existed in this land with you hundreds of years ago, except that humans are void of magic. Unlike the rest of you, you all have a bit of it within you, whether it was a blessing or something natural. Even Creed, who is a paladin who gains his powers from the Trinity that has bestowed their blessing upon him, he still is able to receive it. Even Okros, being a barbarian, you still have a bit of magic in you as well. how do you think you're able to use the items that you have found? How do you think you continue to grow stronger the more you fight? That is the magic within you, the connection to the world you live in. Humans do not have that. A human could fight for years against a common enemy and not grow stronger except through their own physical limitations. But that is where the problems began. You see, when you have a specific singular race that is unable to obtain the magic, to grow stronger through time, in focus, in combat, in studying, in skills, they become a target by everyone else. So humans for many, many, many centuries beforehand, before they even thought of rebelling, were considered slaves and second class. They were pushed down by everything else because they were considered weak, they were considered non-compliant, they were considered useless, until one very special human figured out what they could do. Soul magic. They're able to create images of souls and memories and lifetimes and implant them into others like a skill set. You could take a veteran warrior who has been serving on the front lines for 20 years, on his deathbed, on his way out, and you could copy all of his life's experience into something of a token that could be used to copy his experience into every single soldier that he led onto the battlefield. Imagine having an entire army of 20-year veterans facing the front lines of whatever you wish to fight. Imagine a master smithy no longer having to spend years training an apprentice. You could have your entire blacksmitheries filled with master craftsmen that could create the best gear, the best weapons, equipment, artisanry, masonry, everything. Cooks could spread recipes that would never be lost to the generations. Lords and ladies would never have to question where things came from, as they could question themselves the history of their line by going through these stones. It became a part of the human experience. They were able to create templates from themselves to make their lives easier. And that is where they became a threat, because they found they could do the same thing to the other races. They could take the key specifics of what made that race powerful and give it to themselves. Ask yourself, how many half-breeds have you seen outside the world that you live in? Half-orcs, half-elves, half-dwarves? None. Because they did not come from the normal ways that you would imagine that a half-breed would be made. They were made through soul stones. If a human was given a stone that had an elf template that allowed them to cast magic, they would gain pointed ears, long flowing hair, have the need to do sweet trick shots on shields going downstairs against orcs. That was the nature. So now you began to have combinations of soldiers who now had the strength and constitution of orcs and 20 years experience of human warfighting mixed together in the perfect machine. And if they fell, that simply was passed on to the next person. A cumulative knowledge bank. You can make the perfect soldier, the perfect artisan, the perfect leader, all through the ways of using these soul stones, completely interchangeable. If a child showed proficiency with a bow, you could give him the experience of a veteran hunter. And now that child would now be able to protect themselves and their families on the fringes of the woodlands. Every human became a threat to them. So became the schism. The war between races, where the humans were pushed back to Martyr's Wake. They fought to the last man against demons and magic and mythological beings of the like, and fought and fought and fought for 20 years. Until finally, the spire broke. It shut off all magical items in the entire region and placed it into the Dark Ages. The humans fell back to Crusaders, swords and boards and armor. But then they were pushed out, sent beyond the veil, back to the world from whence they came, never to be seen again. The gods became angry, as one can imagine. And so, in their terms of anger, they were captured put in a box, and locked away. And so now you stand in the wake of the awakening of mad gods. Gods that are very real, and they hate your guts. They hate everything about the races out of here that circumvented and subjugated those that believed in them, that gave them a reason to exist in the first place. And now they rain havoc, death, and blood upon everything that stands between them and their goals, whatever it may be. Minus a few exceptions, mind you. But regardless, it brings us to a very fair point, is that now you all know why Max is important. The reason he was the Undying King was that he was the last of his kind. The last one standing, if you will. He had a connection to this circuit that allowed the lifeblood of everything around him to continue to move. If he was killed, he would simply return. The Ouroboros, the circle of life. The lanterns that were given to humans allowed them to respawn, to be brought back from the dead. This was their power source. This allowed them their chance to survive against the coming wars. And when it was taken from them, when the spire was broken, when the circuit was fractured, it became obsolete. It became a repeating cycle of pain, death, and destruction. Where now you are now a part of that broken cycle. The cycle that was broken 13 years ago, and now has gone rampant and has gone wrong. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
So, you have activated 2 of the 4 world stones that I know of. I know that you went to the Scorched Temple, and I can tell that you came from New Haven, which means that one is also alive and well, the Eternal Watch. There are 2 more on this side that would stabilize the magics that you need to enter High Charity. Once inside, you need to find the heart of this and break it before it becomes a threat. If Zeus is able to contain Max, bring him back to life, Max will not be the man you knew. He will be a tool, a monster. He will simply be here to resurrect his armies. And that will be all. He will be a conduit for a circuit to pass through. Imagine an army of those wardens you fought, where they would simply get back up after striking them down. Unable to be stopped, an endless tide of oppression and death. I know 2 of you lost family to the wardens. Nez, I know that you were nearly taken by them more than once. So let's not let them get the upper hand, shall we? I believe the next spot you need to go is one that is very familiar to at least one of you here, because it has the 3rd stone in it. And it happens to be in the sarcophagus at the end of it.
Hello?
Waiting on you. Waiting on
Oh.
somebody.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. I thought I dropped out again. I've been having connection issues all day.
Oh shit.
Sorry.
So good.
I got the word sarcophagus.
Yep, that's it. Just that the
Yeah.
third crystal's in the sarcophagus in a place that you are familiar with, Creed.
Martha's Wake it is, hmm?
And then I would kind of be familiar because that's where I had the vision.
Yes,
Is it not?
it is. But Arwen doesn't know you had a vision.
Oh. Ah. So, Martyr's Wake would be a while away from here.
Yes.
All right. Terrible question because you told us already. I was making notes, but I didn't make a note. What is his name?
Arwen. It's A.
Uh,
It's here. It's Arawn. I'm probably butchering the name because my Gaelic is shit. My great grandmother's fucking rolling in her grave. I can feel it. I love you, Nana. I'm sorry. I failed you. I failed my Gaelic. I failed my old pronunciation patterns. Don't haunt me, please.
Arwen, might I ask a favor of you?
You might.
I have no interest in allowing, though his essence may not be here. I have no interest in allowing Max to be. Oh, what is? I'm actually also thinking of it. Actually, how to put it? I can't think of the word for it. Basically, he doesn't want to go out and bury Max's body, and someone brings it back, or really does anything to his remains.
Doesn't want Max's body to be desecrated.
Yeah, I can't. Like, there's a proper word more than that covers like everything.
Right.
I can't think of the word though.
I'm
I don't
picking up
want
what you're
anyone.
putting down.
I don't want anyone to defile, desecrate, or malform what remains of him. The favor I ask of you, wherever he may end up, would it be possible for you to take his remains and protect them for me?
He thinks for a moment as he looks at you with a quizzical look of as he's contemplating the request. He goes, "So you'd wish for me to make sure that his remains are never touched again by mortal hands once he is released?"
Until he is whole, and wherever he's destined to go. I like this part to remain protected. Whether he is to be destined for your hands or someone else's. For now, it is just a vessel to still remain. Whether that's his soul, it's his essence or his soul or his pride that's been stolen away. I know that if we leave his body here, someone with less than noble intentions will arrive and attempt to spawn whatever remains, whatever power still lurks. But we were led to believe, or at least I've been informed so, that you are a fair goal. And I'm asking a favor. Whatever you would ask for in return, I shall do what I can to abide.
The only thing that I'll ask for this is as if you wish to protect his remains, I can do one of two things. One, I can make sure that as I will be standing here guard of the circuit, to make sure that no one else uses it for something nefarious. Then I'll make sure that no one comes to find or defile the remains of Max. Once all is said and done, I plan on burying this island underneath the waves itself, to make sure that no one is able to find or work with this blend of magic and technology again, as it is unnatural. The souls of those who pass should be left to those who pass. They should not be allowed to be reborn, circumventing of whatever beyond they wish to go to. But I will stand, and I will make sure that they do not desecrate what you hold dear. As for what I ask in return is simply this. I am a god of justice, valor, and sport. And there is no sport greater than hunting down the villains that wish to sully the lives of those around them for anything but gain, whether of capital, of fame, infamy, or otherwise. So you find the rest of the gods that have done just that. You remove their heads from their shoulders. And I will do this with great glee in my heart to make sure that Max is buried with respects in honor of his title.
If there's one thing I could do. The Creed's gonna give a wry smile. Yes, I can promise you that.
And that, Creed, is what I saved you in the first place. As when Arwen smiles, you see that his teeth are sharpened, almost like canines of a wolf, underneath his thick beard. As he, in his own stories, is one who loves a good hunt and has always been one of the righteous. So, knowing that you will do exactly as he asks to bring them to their knees is something that brings a great happiness to his heart. But he confirms that where you will be going is Martyr's Wake. He will protect Max's corpse until everything is said and done. And then once all is said and done, he will bury the broken spire underneath the waves as his last act before he himself returns to wherever he is meant to go. Now with that out of the way, I think the rest of you should prepare for the worst, as I know that they were preparing to launch an attack from Westminster, that Leandros is planning something big, a move on his part to try and make a mark on the land. He will not make it past Dunmarron. Zeus knows of his maneuvers. The forces that hold that land are some of his strongest fighters. The only way that you can really give them an edge is that you're going to have to go to Falkar. Going to have to give them an opening, secure it by any means, and then go to Martyr's Wake. You hit the northern point, you activate the stone, and God's willing, God's willing, you can use the stones from Eternal Watch to bring your forces here. So, what say you, heroes? Ready to charge into the unknown as you always have, into the lands controlled by a god of war, to make his life a living hell?
I'm always up for a good hunt.
I'm not sure if it's going to be picked up when we attempt to do this. Oh, every time. Doesn't sound so bad until you just put it all together, does it? Not so daunting. What? Job that needs to be done.
It is a job that needs to be done, and I can't think of heroes strong enough to make it happen. But just know that if you do it well, you do it quickly, you could save the lives of the forces coming across from Westminster, so that they are not strewn and die in vain on the shores of Dunmarken. Now, it's quite a ways to the brook from here to Martyr's Wake. And I don't think they're going to let you simply fly there, as I imagine Ares has captured the Valkyrie at this point, the bastard that he is. Which means you have one way, and unfortunately, it's the long way.
Oh boy. What's the long way?
The long way. He just kind of looks at you and just with a like a stretched face with eyebrows up, like the long way.
I'm just like, fuck.
Well, you know what, Nez? Here's something fun for you. There's a saying I was told years ago, and it turns out, for the humans, they have a similar one. Starts with a simple question. Do you have your boots on?
I want to
Nope.
say no, but
Well, do you have your boots on?
look down. Yes.
Creed's gonna walk up next to him, put his right hand on Nez's right shoulder. Good. That means you could walk into hell. Let's go.
You are a very interesting bunch of heroes that I have the pleasure of meeting. I will warn you, this southern area is controlled by Boulder. He does have control of the gate at Blackstone Keep. That may be the first stop that you may need to take, as they will have provisions and potentially something to help you travel a little faster. Hopefully not by foot, the rest of the way up the region towards Martyr's Wake. Especially since you'll have to travel through Cauldry, or what's left of it, and then around Head Thunder, which is currently controlled by Ares and his Crimson Legion. So it's a bit of a hike. But if you at least make your way to Blackstone Keep and deal with the situation there, may be able to find something that makes it a little easier. But do be aware, is that Baldur is, I can't really put it in simple terms. He's brave, strong, dumb as a box of shellfish, and about as good at fighting as a sledgehammer brought to a nail fight. It's so he's a bit of a problem for most of us, and the fact that Blackstone Keep, as Cree can tell you, was not well known for its housekeeping and its warm welcoming invites.
We'll give him a warm welcome.
I imagine we will. You've both done significantly more damage on your own than most armies have been able to. As I saw what you did at Broken Talon, and Water's Rest, and Scoradoon, and Adriel Cove. I think you'll be able to do a quite fine job breaking into Blackstone Keep, as long as you remember who's on the side of the wall where you throw the grenade, Nez.
It'll be all right.
It'll be alright, he says. Thank me, I won't be fucking going with you then, isn't it?
Yeah, you might be lucky on that one.
I try to be. Well, as Creed said, it's time to walk feet first in the hill. I imagine your first stop will be Milderin. That's small town to the west, about, I would say about 10, 15 miles from here. It seems like a decent spot. It's mostly farmlands. Folks just tending their lands as best they can. May have some folks guarding it from Balder's regiment, but nothing that you can't handle. You just finished fighting an entire fucking army of mythological creatures and wardens, so I imagine you handling about 5 or 6 common fucking guards wouldn't be much of a problem for you.
I would hope not.
I would hope not as well. As you know, especially you, of course, imagine you could fight them with your fucking legs and arms tied behind your back. So I hope to fucking Christ that you're able to do something about it. But regardless, I'll open the way to you to get you released out of here. Once you're outside, you're unfortunately going to be on your own. They cannot see you in here for the time being because there's too much interference. But once you're back outside, watch out for any wary storm clouds. They may have a bit of a negative imposition towards your existence.
I rather like our odds. None of us are married.
Ah, well, search yourself. As he kind of turns and points his staff at the wall behind him as it opens up into a gateway that just is outside. It simply goes from inside here to not inside here, just outside the cave-in of the Broken Spire. He goes, well, off you get. Places to go, people to kill. The usual. You go with my blessing, and well, if I am able to help at some point, I will try. But I'm also trying not to get smitten by the big dick himself, as I would like to be able to live to see you win. Fair?
Fair. I
Wonderful.
walked in one.
Yeah, you walk through it, it's like walking through a threshold, like a doorway. You're outside now.
Fresh air.
So what do the rest of you do?
What's the temperature outside? In the campaign, not
in the
actually-
campaign. Oh,
Not
look
IRL.
outside. It's I don't know. Depending on which player you ask, it will be a different answer.
I realized that as I asked the question, I felt like I had to clarify the question.
I actually went to check. That's the bad part.
It's in the world of where you are, you're in very much a temperate zone, probably on the cusping end of summer. So you're looking at probably a good like 70-80 Fahrenheit. Like,
All right, cool.
not terrible, but like okay. It's also more of like Mediterranean climate.
And because I have its keen sense, so I know how much time until night.
Well, because you have your super brain soldier powers, you would know that it will be dusk in about 4 hours.
All right, cool. He's not gonna have to worry about that either then. All right. As next question, because keen mind, we know which way is north. He's just gonna start heading west.
Yep. You know which way is north, and you go west. You'll probably be looking at for a 15-mile travel at walking pace, which is about, depending on your height, anywhere from, I would say, an average of between 15 to 20 minutes. I'd say about 17 minutes walking pace for a mile. Looking at a few hours, probably about 3 to 4. So if you just started walking and kept walking, you'd probably hit Mill Ruin by just after dusk. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. I had to do a quick count because sometimes my brain is bad at math. Go figure.
Well, I'm good with doing the walk over to the town. That way we actually get a bed for the night over camping out.
I personally say we just push on through, but he's gonna give a little shiver. Whatever you wish to do, I shall abide by.
We'll probably want to make sure the area is secure before we make plans to rest there.
Also, we might be able to get at least some better means of transportation besides just walking to at least the Blackstone Keep.
Yeah, so it's up to you guys if you want to walk all 15-ish miles, just full walking haul, or if you guys want to stop after a certain amount, or whatever it is you want to do. Just let me know. Let me know.
What are your thoughts, Chris?
I'm not sure.
Potentially, what we could do is just push down, get to the river bank, and make a camp near the bridge. Easily defensible. All we'd have to worry about is really something coming from behind us or across the bridge. Personally, I say how grueling it would be. We push on through to the town. I understand. Not everyone shares the same.
Like you just said, camping on the bridge. I still have one more of my toys that we could set up for guard.
Apologies for having asked this. Is this one of those toys that will go boom, or just alert enemy?
Oh,
I'm
it's
not
gonna
sure
go
I
boom.
trust that bridge to survive your toy.
Because we still have to cross the bridge in the morning.
It depends on how far we go down the bridge, because if we go to the very front of it to get across and we just camp on it, if I'm just guarding from what can come from that side, at least the boom won't really affect too much.
That character, I want to point out, you seem like a beaver to me right now. Because it's like, hey, yeah, this bridge has stood for millennia, and you're like, can't have that, buddy. Can't have that at all. Hey, we're going to cross the bridge. What if, hear me out, right?
Sure would be a shame if we turned it into a dam.
Like, what if we went on the bridge and we just stayed on the bridge and we just put a bomb on the other end where we came from so they can't sneak up behind us? And it'll just blow up the bridge behind us. It's a win. In character, though, I'd rather not attempt to rest upon the bridge. First of all, because I'm going to assume the bricks are not that comfortable. Second of all, it seems like a horrible idea that the best route of escape, should something occur, is going to be either across the bridge into the enemy or back the way we came into the enemy.
I mean, I'm good for the full trek all the way to town. I was just throwing out ideas because I heard you say about the bridge.
It certainly would be a defensible location, but I'm not so sure about high explosives on it.
But going back to, I can also set up just a regular trap. That can just have like a loud bang go off for an alert.
I'm not responsible for rebuilding the bridge. Oh, it's. Would you like this? Would everyone like to just rest on? Allow Nez to place the explosives on the bridge and get far enough away. It won't be a problem.
Well, fair enough. So long as we don't need the bridge to come back this way.
As you all are standing outside and the door closes to the broken spire, you can feel that it's about 78 degrees outside. But then the temperature begins to drop. Slowly, but it's noticeable.
Well, I suppose we better make to where we want to set up camp.
I just have my materials ready to do whichever is better, depending on where we camp.
Where are you all looking right now? Are you guys just standing on the bridge talking?
Cree's looking towards the
Amazing.
opposite shore.
I
feel like we're like somewhere like right around here.
So like near the start of the bridge, kind of either looking across the way or just kind of in general in different directions. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
I'd be starting down the bridge,
Actually.
looking down at you, pretty much.
Okay. Huh. It'd be easier. This is actually would be something easier to do if Aura was here, but she's not, so I can't just like throw it at her and throw her under the bus. So.
I pull Aura out of my backpack and say, "What do your fish eyes see?"
What do your fish eyes see? Just use it like a fucking periscope. Doot, doot, doot. No. So what I'm gonna do is let me ask you this: where did everyone's character grow up? Creed, you don't have to answer because you grew up in the desert. Uh, I know where you lived. Nez, where did your character grow up? Would you say rural, farmland, coastal, forest?
I would say rural.
Rural. Okay. Adarian, same question.
Huh.
Doesn't have to be super specific. Just like where would they have grown
I
up?
think
more
I would
likely?
have to mimic Nez. I think it would be rural.
All right. Okros?
The highlands and plains.
So I think actually like the only it'd be Okros and Creed would be the only two that could probably recognize this as a problem. Creed just because you live closer to the coast, on Okros because you live on the plains, you have to worry about this as well. So the two of you, give me perception rolls, please.
Got a 14.
I'm gonna flash that.
So brings them up to an 18.
I actually do believe it is a plus. Yes,
Very good.
it is a +4 now.
All right. Okros, what'd you get?
12 plus. 1 second, I'm trying to find it in perception. 16 in total.
Okay. So you and Creed, for different reasons, notice the temperature has started to drop quickly. And your eyes feel like they're drawn to the coast to your south, as you can see what looks to be almost clouds that are colored green a few miles out.
I point towards it and to bring attention to it for the rest of the party and go, "Well, that can't be good."
You can see almost underneath these clouds far out, you can see that the water underneath of it is tumulated and is disturbed and you see that the air beneath the clouds almost seems to be pixelated
Full of
out.
surfer dudes?
Maybe. Fucking tubular, bruh.
Far out and tubulated, man.
Tubes. But the air beneath the clouds and the water seems almost pixelated as just sheets of rain are falling, as you can start to begin to feel wind sweeping up the coast towards you. Not strong winds, but enough that kind of catch you off guard as a gust kind of comes across and hits you guys. Probably about a 15-mile-an-hour wind. Just a quick little poof right across your face.
That storm will close in quickly. We must find shelter before it hits.
Cross the bridge. Can't stay here. We need to get across the bridge now.
Nez. Climb up.
Yes. I instantly just like jump up.
Just immediately jumps onto the back of the lion folk.
I start running with him on my back.
Very good. So, the storm is going, based on what the dice roll, about 45 miles an hour. So, it will hit landfall in about 5 to 6 minutes. Or at least the beginning of it. And so, as you guys start hauling, as you're seeing this storm off the coast, you get across the bridge, and you get a couple miles in. So, you've gone about 4 miles under your belt of the distance between you and Mill Ruin, as the first effects of this storm start to rip through the landscape. As you can see waves being surged over the swampland to your south, as the water threatens to try and break through the thick groves of trees that make up the delta. And traveling on foot is going to be considered arduous. And it's going to take significantly more effort to do so. And that you know that traveling in these conditions are going to be difficult and will exhaust you very quickly if you're not careful. Now, you can continue, of course. But you will need to do con saves if you wish to continue traveling.
I don't really see much choice. Either stay here and hope for the best, or try to push through and suffer.
Yeah, I mean, you essentially have two countries. You were across the bridge. You have essentially made it to their side of the coast. And you're about 11 miles from Milroon. It would take you, in these conditions, about essentially double what's left of your time to get there. And you don't know how long this storm is going to last. So, do you wish to continue traveling, or do you want to try and find shelter?
Can I roll a survival to estimate the intensity of the storm?
You may.
Good one.
I believe I have advantage on survival checks. Let me double check. No, I have proficiency in it. I don't. Okay, never mind. Fair enough. That is a 8 plus 4. That was only a 12.
You can tell this storm is going to be intense. You can't tell how long it's going to last, but you know that traveling through it is going to be extremely difficult. With the amount of rain and wind that's coming through, the hairs on your ears, being a line folk, you can already pick up that the pressure is continuing to drop as the temperatures continue to drop, meaning that the air that is going to be coming through is going to be vicious.
Would I be able to fit Darian and Nez into the haversack of holding?
I do not think both of them would fit in there comfortably.
Yeah.
It is meant to hold 1 to 2 sleeping NPCs at a time. It is not meant to be a forced travel companion sack.
I have a question for Mr. Okros.
Mm-hmm.
What is your carrying capacity?
He's strength 23, so it's a lot.
And
Oh.
2 questions for you, Mr. DM. What is our visibility like?
It's going to become poor very quickly for the amount of time the storm will be here.
And I mean, we're talking like Florida hurricane, right?
You're looking like a cat 2, essentially.
Oh god. Apparently I can carry up to 2,400 pounds as a heavy load.
Yeah, it's the scaling is kind of goofy when it comes to weight bearing in 5e, because normal humans are like at max 12, and Okros, and like 12 is like you're doing Eddie Hall deadlifts, and like he's maybe a 13 in strength, so Okros is a 23 in strength, in like normal physical terms, so it's kind of goofed. Yeah, so Okros could easily carry whatever the fuck you gave him, within reason. But yeah, you're going to be having less than a quarter mile of visibility, as you're essentially sitting in a cat 2.
Hmm. Um. It's only been like a day or 2 since the fight at the Glass Keep, right?
Less than that. It's been...
All right.
You fought the Glass Keep, you escaped the Glass Keep, you made it to the Broken Spire, and you essentially rested for like 8 hours.
And then roughly, from our perspective, it's been probably about a day or 2. Without actually looking like directly at a clock.
Yeah. It would
right.
feel like a day since the Glass Keep.
All right. So I'm gonna make you think for a second.
Uh-huh.
All right, so Keen might allows me to remember really anything within. It was. Let me make sure I get correct. I'm not just talking about here. Anything I've seen or heard within the past month.
Yeah.
We visited the colonel in his office in like the command center they set up in the Glass Keep.
Yeah.
Did they send any scouts out beyond the extent of the walls?
You mean of Bracken's Pass or of the Glass Keep in general?
Like outside of the Glass Keep, like did they only go as far as Bracken's Pass, or like the mountain range, or did they go any further past that?
They didn't really have a reason to go past the mountain range, as they were under a constant assault since they got there, and they had been there for about 6 months.
How tall are the mountains?
Significant. Like it's a stereotypical mountain range. I would say they're easily 200 meters.
All right. I promise I'm getting to a point here.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any chance Creed can try to rack his memory of any note of, say, like, abandoned farmsteads or abandoned outposts, anything like that out here where it would be sufficient for temporary protection from the storm?
nothing of that the colonel spoke of this far past the mountains. And even if you wish to try and make it to the mountains, you're about another 15 miles from the mountain range of the most southern part of Bracken's Pass, which is like right here. So
I like to roll for history further back.
Or you're trying to think of anything?
Yeah, anything at all. Like, even if it's a house with a basement, like a collapsed house with an intact basement that people could temporarily take shelter. Anything at all.
Sure, I will let you do it at history disadvantage because your patrols never really brought you down this way. And when you were here last, you guys were in the chariot, so you weren't exactly looking for shelter. That was 14 years ago. So,
all right. Yeah, with disadvantage it's 17.
Fuck you.
Again, anything. It doesn't have to be.
It's yeah. You would know that there's a couple of places here and there. There's a couple of log cabins that are kind of spittered out in the woods. There's fishing huts and such as the swamp and the delta kind of mix in between. I'll say that you remember a particular house that is up the road from you. The road kind of splits in a certain way, and you have a feeling that the split will be favorable to you if you follow it away from the main road. You don't remember exactly what's there, but you remember a split in the road being a good thing when coming towards a town, because it usually means going to either another village or something equivalent, whether a house or otherwise.
Oh, gross. Look for a split in the road. Avoid going towards town.
Okay. I look for a split in the road.
You see a split in the road coming up about a quarter mile out as the rain begins to come down in waves. It's close enough that you can keep an eye on it and that you can run there relatively quick, even carrying everybody on your back as they're just kind of like grabbing onto you like some kind of tauntaun.
I've got Nez under one arm. I've got frickin' Etheria under the other arm. I've got frickin'
like Creed on your shoulders,
Creed sitting up. Yeah.
Yeah. Just point me over there. Get me closer. I hit them with my sword.
Oh no, don't be carrying Creed. Carry a Darian.
Oh, he's Okros is already carrying the entire party minus you.
Okay, cool then. All right, cool.
And so, Okros, you see the split. It's within a quarter mile. You can get there relatively quick because you are fast as fuck, boy.
Indeed. If I was carrying Creed, I'd say I was going to rage to increase my speed, but I don't want to leave him behind, so I guess I'll just continue.
I have legs.
Says the man in full
You don't got legs like these.
So do I. You don't see me complaining about the situation.
Says,
I have
the
pride.
tiefling in full plate armor that's going to be running through a Cat 2 hurricane. Let's fucking go. All right, so you see the split and you start running. I need Okros to give me a DC. Well, I'm not going to tell you DC. I need you to give me a con save. And then Creed, you also need to give me a con save.
I'm going to rage to increase my speed.
Very good.
But I decided that after, so I won't give myself advantage on this con save.
So what bad idea did you have for me?
Oh no, just what is it?
You'll never guess.
Is it
Did you get a
one?
nat one?
Isn't that one?
Oof.
I got a 17.
Okros, you're fine. As you start moving,
I can't
That's-
save you.
It's
Creed.
not a great start.
Creed, you suffer a level of exhaustion as you try to run behind Okros as a sweeping wind catches you and knocks you down. So you suffer a level of exhaustion and you trip and fall into the now very gross, mucky ground.
Well, on the bright side, my cloak is not getting dirty.
That is
Well-
a bright sign.
Now that I'm raging, I'm going to take advantage of that to set one of them down for a second, pick him up by the scruff, basically, hoist him fireman style over my shoulders, and then pick back up the person I had set down and just keep going.
Yep. You do it with gusto as Creed's pride is wounded. His pride. Fall to see they rage.
His Saiyan pride!
Exactly. As you head down the split in the road that he told you about, as you see a small, not well kept, but decently sound looking log cabin in the woods towards the swamp. About, I would say, another half mile down this split. Seemed to be surrounded by no longer tended to farmland. It was very basic agricultural. The actual tilled land was maybe about an acre, if that. And you just kind of haul ass towards there. Around about 45 feet a turn, you have like a fucking 3-minute mile. So you get there with the quickness. It doesn't take you super long to get to the house. And you just kind of shove the door open with your shoulder as it just kind of falls inward as the rain at this point is coming down like concrete sheets. And it's just hammering everything that is on the ground-wise. The soil itself is becoming extremely soft and hard to kind of walk through, as well as water kind of settling as it's not being absorbed by the ground fast enough. And as you get inside the cabin, you see that it's, pretty straight aligned. It's a little leaky, a little dilapidated, but, it's holding. The winds are howling across, so you can feel some of the logs starting to shift. The windows are semi-shuttered, the shutters are kind of slapping against it, but you're not outside.
Is there anything I can do to maybe secure the cabin a bit more?
Yeah, go ahead and give me a engineering check.
Wow, Creed and I are on same level right now.
Yes, the Florida man has failed you. So you having never really dealt with a storm like this, you're not sure what to do. So you were just kind of trying to understand what exactly is needed to reinforce this house in some way, shape, or form. You see that there are some pieces of old tables and chairs and such, but for some reason your brain is just fogging up at this as you're over the howling winds and thundering rain and just all of the sound. Your brain's just kind of shooketh, if you will. Anyone else want to try and give something a swing?
Are you waiting on me again?
Anybody.
Dude, Creed is just fucking cold
Oh.
right now.
Sorry, I was dying from a toke. I would like to try to secure the house as well.
Roll
Look it
me
up.
investigation, sir. Use your brain bits.
Oh, damn, son. What do I have in investigation? That's a good roll. Regardless. Yes, regardless. But, investigation. Lied. I only have +1, so that's a 19. But still.
I mean, that's better than not. So yeah, you're able to
True.
see that there are some heavy tables and such, and as you're kind of seeing wind coming through, one of the windows gets slammed inward and shatters from the moving shutters. Uh, and so you run, you pick up the tables, and you pull Nez by the collar as you're just like nail table to wall, like you're trying to guide him how to do this. As you're just like, if it's anything like the storms that you dealt with on the plains, you're kind of dealing with the same idea of there's high winds, you need to block off ways the wind can come in, try to make it less wet. Your survival instincts kind of kicking in. Nez, as Okers kind of pulls you around and snaps you out of it, your brain kind of starts clicking back over as you're like, yes, this is how I
And
do
then-
things.
I asked for the helping hands.
Yeah. And so you start helping essentially board up the windows, trying to see how you can control some of the leaks, make sure everything is relatively sound. And for the most part, this cabin has stood the test of time. And so it doesn't look like it's going to fall over anytime soon, but a little leaky. Windows are still kind of exposed, but you fix it in relatively quick fashion, whether either securing the shutters or boarding the windows up. You take the necessary precautions as you feel like you are now in a relatively safe environment. And that's our one down. Mayor Franciel continued their sub. Their prime sub. Delicious. I appreciate your contribution to the Reclary. So, you are all now in a safe, controlled environment. There is a semi-working hearth here that you could easily kind of get a fire started in, which
Good. I was going to say I would like to find some firewood.
you got some old shitty chairs you can break. No one else is using them.
It's basic. If it's basically already working order, I can just light it.
Yep. Yeah, you can light it. I mean, you guys are all veteran adventurers. You know how to start a fire. I'm not going to have you roll for it. Like, this is...
Oh, I was just gonna cast prestidigitation on it and just start a fire in it.
I mean, also that. It's, potato. You guys will start the fire regardless. I'm not going to have you walk through it. So fire is started. You're able to find firewood out of the broken furniture and such kind of hanging around. And you're able to kind of piece it together, make it easy. You got a fire going, you're drying off. The wind and storm is howling. And now, you wait. It's hard to tell how strong the storm is or how long it will last. And so you essentially are just stuck, waiting. Okros, give me another perception.
Well, since we're stuck here, seems as good a time as any to prepare a feast.
And what was your perception roll, sir?
Oh, you asked me to roll perception?
Yes.
Sorry, I was doing frickin' stretches. My headset fell off for a second.
You silly lion folk. Yes, I need a perception from you, sir. While you're making the feast.
My apologies. That is a 19 in total.
As you can see, the temperature continues to drop from the rain outside. As everything kind of swirls together, the wind howling, something catches you on the back of your ear. Not physically, but a sound that pricks the hairs on the back of your neck, as it is a sound that you've heard before. Something that doesn't seem to match the sounds outside, as it seems to be almost a a roar of a creature who assumes to have been stuck in the storm, as it is a roar of struggle. And the sound seems to be getting louder and coming towards you.
Would I recognize this as a tornado?
Oh, it's not a tornado.
Okay.
It is a roar of a creature.
It's an actual creature, not
It is an
some-
actual
okay, fair
creature.
enough.
But the sound is coming towards you, and it pricks a survivalist part of your lizard brain, like your primal brain. It just sets it off like firecrackers. Like it's something triggering.
Well, suppose I won't be preparing a feast after all.
Do you
Put the
let
kitchen
your
it away.
do you let your party know you hear something coming this way?
Yes, and I tell them to prepare because something not happy is coming.
Would anyone else like to try and listen for what Okros is describing?
Entirely in out of character. I'd love to in character. Creed is freezing. 'Cause he's there's this whole like back of his body that's not used to getting wet. So
Yeah, it's fair.
What kind of a roll would it be?
It would be perception. You're using your ear bits.
Oh, well, that didn't do any good. That was a 12.
It's enough that you can now begin to hear the roar that Okros was describing. And it sounds like, again, a roar of something struggling as the sound is now becoming closer. Where by the time that Adarian, as you hear it, you kind of pull everyone else to listen for it, as you all now hear the flapping of heavy wings against the wind. And the sound is coming closer at an accelerated pace.
I want to load my dread with the blue speed rounds.
Just Nez hears noise, loads dread. Just no thanks.
I don't suppose this house we're in has a basement, does it?
Did you look?
Probably not.
You could do that.
Yeah, let's look around, see if we can find a basement.
Investigation.
Cool. Where's that? 20.
All right. You find that as this sound is coming to you, you're hearing the flapping of wings struggling against the wind. You're hearing this roar struggling. You start looking around for a hatch to a cellar, as you've lived in kind of houses like these that have like a storm cellar. And so you start looking for if there's a hatch in here before you go outside to look around for it on the outside. You quickly find it near the hearth, near a fireplace just to the right of it. It's underneath a rug that is askew. And as you flip the rug back, oh, I gotta nuke this nerd. Get nuked. You hear, or you see the hatch. You open it quickly as you kind of point it out to everyone else. What do you say?
Well, first of all, I want to clarify that what I rolled was a 17 plus 3 because I
Yes.
realized when I said roll a 20,
I would imagine you'd
Not
be a
nat
lot
20,
more
sorry.
excited if it was a nat 20. So,
yeah, okay. Good.
You got the dirty.
the dirty.
So I think I found an entrance to a cellar here. Do we want to consider hiding as opposed to potentially fighting whatever this subject of the sound is in this fucking storm?
Not sure if you're aware, but if we can find a basement, so can they.
The sound is getting louder, almost deafening at this point.
Well, we need to make a decision quickly. It doesn't sound like we have much time left.
Even if it does find us, at least we'll be fighting from a position where it cannot simply destroy the walls around us and send us flying into the winds.
Oh, Creature's gonna get up and go down. Screw it.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Dogpiling into
Oh.
the cellar.
You guys get down into the cellar. You take the short, steep steps as you all kind of help each other down. As some of you may be able to see in the dark, some of you may not. And you'll kind of get yourselves down underneath the house into this storm cellar. And no sooner than you do you hear the roar almost over top of you, and then something hits the ground as you hear it crash through the cabin you were staying in. As whatever this thing is lands on top of where you were and just starts thrashing.
I'm not gonna like make any noise, but I am definitely just going to have the dread aimed if something comes down.
The feeling of this thing hitting the ground, or the cabin in this case, was enough to shake some of you to fall onto your backs, as the sound of it moving around above you sounds like something massive walking around. Like it's something huge is just thrashing, trying to pull itself back together, as it, God knows what it is, but it does not sound something small that could easily fit into a basement. Now the question becomes, is anyone going to try and poke their head out and see what it is, as now the howling winds and thundering rain are now hitting the floorboards above you, making it difficult to hear things and or see things.
Hell no.
Cool. Those answers are like, absolutely
Me sitting
not.
here going, all right, who's getting the short end of the stick
It's
here?
wet, and something sounds like a war zone upstairs. I'm staying right here. Thank you. Good night.
Look, the medic has a good idea.
Look, I'm gonna say what we're all thinking here, right? If anyone has to check it out, it's the newest player. We're all thinking it.
You're the one with a fuck, or get your ass up there and check it.
Even the mayor wants you to go look. He's like, do it. Do it.
No.
All right, so you're all just going to hide in the hole? You're just not going to do anything? You're just going to wait it out?
That's my plan. Can't speak for them.
The big.
I got another better. Still freezing.
All right, so you guys are just basically hanging out downstairs.
I don't have a great stealth stat, so I don't really want to poke my head out.
Yeah, mine literally has a disadvantage icon next to it, so
I have advantage on stealth, and I'm still not going up there.
Son of a.
Is curiosity going to kill the Nez? Let's see.
Nez, park your ass. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
That is. Is there any way? It'd be awesome if we had a damn cat.
Oh yeah, it'd be super good if you had like a cat person that was small and could just like be real sneaky.
Had a cloak.
That'd be really useful. It'd be super useful right now, but oh no. So I mean, it's like you guys can just like hide in the hole. That's fine. I mean, it's up to y'all. Or you can just give me rolls, give me something. I don't know. What's your plan? What do you want to do? Because whatever is up there is big, angry, and the storm is also big, angry. So
Sounds like two really good reasons to stay right where the fuck we are.
all right, I need a group decision on what's happening. 5, 4, 3.
My character's not going to go. I'm more personally curious.
I'm personally curious. All right. So, you guys hide in the basement. Cold, unfortunate, and stuck. As the minutes tick on, you keep yourselves as quiet as you can as this creature, whatever it may be, however large it is just thrashing around. Its footfalls are creaking the floorboards above you as the light that is able to come down through the floorboards is blotted out by this thing's size as it moves around. You hear it trying to move around. The wing flaps are trying to pick it up off of it as it just screams at this unnatural environmental hazard that seems to have stopped it from getting away. And as the hour kind of comes to a close, the sounds of the storm start to diminish. The winds stop howling as much, and the rain stops falling as hard. But you can still hear the creature above thrashing as it's trying to get itself up in a way. But as the storm dies down, the sounds it's making become quieter, as you can still see the light being blotted out by its shape, but now it seems to be looking for something. At this point in time, I need all of you to give me stealth checks.
$21.
Oh, 6.
Nice.
I just want to double check. You said stealth, right?
Oh, yes. I will say that because you're sitting still, you don't have disadvantage.
Oh! Oh!
Why did you roll high on 2 dice?
No. Fuck. Well, I got a 10. And that one.
Well, thankfully, because you're sitting still, you don't roll at disadvantage.
Oh, I still got a 10.
Better than a 1.
Yeah.
And Okros, what did you get?
I got a 9. I don't think I have advantage on it, so yeah, just go.
Fucking wow. Not you guys. I was like, the only way this creature will not be able to find them is if it rolls a nat 1. That is the only way. That is the only possible way that it cannot find you, and that's what it rolls.
What the hell are with the ones tonight?
Yeah.
I would just like to state, for the record,
The only way. that it would not have been able to find you just to roll on that one because it has a +9 to perception. And yeah. So you hear it turn and move. The floorboards creaking, just thunderous stomps of this creature's legs as you hear it sniff above the hatch. Just the air moving through the floorboards as it unsettles the dust of the crawl spaces you find yourself in. And you all sit there holding your breath, praying that whatever is up there, now that the sound of the storm has passed, does not hear you. And it sits there for what feels like an eternity before it seems to finally give up and then begins to kind of stomp away. Its wing beat still trying to do something as it's trying to lift itself up, but it seems to have at least lost its attention on you. It seems safe enough that you could at least peek out as the sound of it moving has gone far enough away where it's no longer shaking the spot that you're hiding in.
I wish to poke my head out and look.
What if it wasn't you?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that instead.
Not where I was going, but I'm not saying no.
Yeah,
So
I guess I'll roll
Adarian,
stealth again.
no, it's you. You peek your head out. You'll still have your high roll from it because you're in the same area. You haven't been
Okay.
discovered. So you go up to the hatch and you ever so gently, with the help of your party, they all kind of hold the hatch open, gently open enough that you can just kind of put your eye up to the crack, almost Evil Dead style, and just kind of look out. And you see the form of an adult green dragon walking away. It looks like its right wing got caught in some kind of vines and wires during the storm, and it fell, and it just broke through the entire cabin. And so now you see the silhouette of it walking away into the woodlines as it's trying to free its right wing from its now tenured grasp. Also, welcome in, Psycho. Appreciate you being here, Joker. I changed it recently as had a bit of the brand change stuff, but it was a whole thing of kind of giving up the ghost on certain things. But welcome in, friend.
All right. So did everyone see what I saw, or is it just me?
It was just you. They were kind of helping you lift the hatch because the hatch is heavy. So they were using their combined strength to kind of get it open just enough for you to peek your eye out. But yeah, you saw the adult green dragon. You can tell your party now if you want.
Okay. So the good news is we dodged a dragon.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. The bad news is, I think, given that, it's still within eyesight, we might just need to live in this basement for a little while. Personal opinion.
What?
Personal thought.
What color is it?
Green. So yeah, basement living. Thoughts on home improvement?
I would say, Okros, with your experience of hunting the larger of creatures as both a rite of passage of your family, but also of you having dealt with dragons before on your homeland. It would be you would know that you don't have to live in the basement, but maybe giving it a 15-minute head start isn't a bad idea.
Yeah. It is best to let it wander off of ways longer. That is for certain.
So, does anyone else have other actions or things they would like to do, or are you just gonna wait the 15 and then go about your day?
Hey, look, when we went through training, we were told there's one thing you should do if you encounter a dragon, which is not do anything to piss it off. So, we stayed down here. I want nothing to do with the dragon.
Yep. Just relax down here for a moment, I suppose.
Yep, let's just put our feet up for a minute.
I'm just gonna put my head down and just walk down the stairs and go, all right, we'll hang out here. In the back of my mind, I'm just going, but the materials and what I could make.
Listen, this isn't Monster Hunter still.
Out of a character campaign or whatever. That's literally what they were playing before this started. So
yeah. Not surprised. But yeah, it's
We were beating the shit out of a Toby Kadachi.
You're getting your practice in for today, I see. But yeah, it's so you guys wait. You wait it out. You wait the next 15 minutes or so until you no longer hear it roaring. Adair, and you kind of go out and peek your eyes out of the hatch every little bit at a time, just to make sure that, you know, it has vacated the premises, at least far enough away that you could scoot towards Mill Run. And after about 15 or 20 minutes or so, you're able to get yourselves out of the basement as you see that where you were staying, where you were currently sitting, is that the dragon had landed essentially on top of the cabin and flattened almost all of it, minus the chimney. So if you had stayed up there, you would have been underneath of it when it fell.
he would have made pancakes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what now, gentlemen? Seeing as how we narrowly avoided being flattened by a dragon landing on our heads.
Well, onward to the town, I suppose.
If there's much of the town.
Cut out there for a moment.
I was gonna say, I feel like Creed said something, but it was very quiet.
Sorry. If there's anything, you said if there's anything left of the town.
Ah, yes. Well, if there isn't, then the survivors will... Survivors will need help. So,
We should
regardless,
assess the damage to the
onwards.
area anyways to see how it's going to affect our journey from here forward.
I would just like to find a better way of transport, so to the town. hopefully we'll find something of use.
Yeah, you guys would see that from where you are, you're about 7 miles from Millruin. And as you exit the storm cellar, you see that the damage to the land around you, minus what the dragon did when it fell, is mostly water based. That the winds were strong, but they weren't strong enough to knock over a lot of trees, and if they were, it was mostly just into the forests. Some of the older trees or dead trees falling over relatively easily, and so you see that your path forward, it may be a little mucky due to the mud, but seems relatively stable. So you could probably make it to Millruin, probably a couple hours after dusk, as this little sidetrack cost you about 3 hours. Rexus, don't make me roll to smite you. I saw that.
I was just wishing I hadn't seen that.
Prepared to be smitten. Schmote. Become schmoted. Yeah, so you guys, if you went now, if Okros carried all of you, you'd make it there in about 20 minutes. If he can make the Constitution to run 7 miles non-stop. Otherwise, probably 2 hours or so. To be about an hour and a half after dusk, so it'd be dark by the time you arrive.
I'm okay with being carried again, but someone's going to have to convince Creed.
All I have to say is good luck on that one.
Just get it over with.
I just imagine Creed holding his arms up, like just defeated. Just
Fine.
yeah, just
You're going to wait for a moment. Pick me up and carry me again. Just do it.
So basically, what you're saying is you imagine Creed doing defeated uppies.
mm-hmm, essentially.
Well, I suppose I pick everybody up.
You do it, and you start doing the hustle. And so, you make your way towards Millruin. And give me a con save.
Oh, I forgot. But I imagine I'm still not raging from before anymore, so
No.
I would like to rage again when
Alright.
I started doing that.
Very good.
Remember to mark that off. Okay. Constitution saving throw. That was a 23.
Yeah, you are easily able to keep your pace and make it to Millruin about 30-ish minutes, we'll say. You don't push yourself super hard, but you make it there in decent time. So you make it there before dust sits, essentially. So when you arrive, it's pretty okay. It's just as the sun is going down.
As we get close to the town, I will set them down so that they can enter the town.
Indeed, thank you. And thank you for the lift.
Yes.
Alright, so I guess we're at the edge of this town now.
Yes.
I
You
was
are
going to
now
ask,
in
how does the
Millruin.
town look?
Millruin itself looks pretty okay. It doesn't seem like there's been anything going through it. The dragon seems to have ignored it. It does seem to have had some damage from the storm, some damage from neglect, mostly, of not being maintained, especially underneath everything else going through it. So some of the outlier buildings are falling to pieces, but still manageably habitable. Some of the more reinforced buildings that are made of stone or other hardened materials seem to be well standing. Nothing much of an issue with those. And but as you enter the town, trying to get my things.
Aw.
Aw.
Sorry.
Why'd you make it weird?
I mean,
You find
you've known me
that
long enough now to know not to ask me that.
you find
But to
that
answer your
Millruin
question, I didn't need a reason.
Millruin is a older town, meant to be one of farmland in progress and growth. When you arrive, besides the damage that you see, it has a very large stone tower in it. And it just seems different. It seems odd, misplaced, things that are not as what they seem, so to speak. As you can see to the north of it, there are mists that seem to kind of envelop the northern pieces of it, as some of the villagers walk around with very strange objects, common everyday items that seem to kind of move on their own, as it just seems to be an out-of-place town. It was always known as one to be out of place, but being near Blackstone Keep and the Broken Spire in its heyday, as well as being on one of the main trade routes going to Cauldron Head Thunder, is that it's where a lot of things were put out for research, development, and otherwise. A lot of mages would come here to work at the Blackstone Keep to learn. They would go and explore the swamps to look for new creatures, as the biologists would go and study the monsters. Before going to St. Radric for homing and hospitality, Blackstone Keep for work, or reporting back to the Glass Keep or Head Thunder. It was an interesting town that had an eccentric past. And as you arrive and you see these commoners having just these very common items that seem to be moving on their own, they also kind of give you a wide berth when you show up. Not really paying much attention to you as they squabble over haggling prices and such in the bazaar. Just seems to be just problems.
Can you describe what you mean by everyday items, like, for my own sanity?
An egg beater that beats eggs by itself. A chef's knife that cuts things julienne perfectly every time without having you picking up
Okay, all right.
items. The common items that seem to be sentient for no
I
other
thought you
reason.
meant like tables were walking around, which is like that's a
Oh no,
we
there
got a whole nother problem if we're going that route.
there is a walking table though.
Oh, wonderful.
It specifically has a bunch of goods on it that a trader has on. Instead of having a traveling suitcase, he has a traveling table. And so he just brings stuff around the bazaar and kind of sets up wherever he wishes. It's an odd town with a lot of odd items.
Maybe we can find an odd cart of some kind.
The inhabitants of Millruin seem to be halflings, dwarves, and elves. They tend to be more cosmopolitan than most villages and are used to seeing odd travelers. Being at the end of a route, as well as being near Blackstone Keep that had its own eccentric groupings, it is used to it. They've enjoyed years of peace, and they've become complacent with regard to their own defense, never really having to worry about it, as between Cauldron and Head Thunder, you had more than enough forces to deal with it. And then, of course, the Glasskeep being able to have its own posts and forts around this area, it was relatively easy to be safe. That was, of course, before the Godfall, and now something has changed. The noble of this town, if you would call him that, seems to be an absentee landlord, having a skeleton crew that runs his estate, and the townsfolk are mostly poorly equipped to deal with everyday emergencies and such that you would normally come across. And so they expect a specific one person, a a halfling of wide stature named Axel Cobblepot, sees to the security of the village. As you see him speaking to a number of other villagers as they're coming up to him in a panic and cross words, just asking him, why haven't you taken care of this? We can't continue to farm the northern lands. All these items keep going through it. Sebastian's knife stole my carrots again. The table stepped on my foot. The wagon that we had to carry of the items is now awoken and has gone off with the horses as they have eloped. The horse and wagon love each other very much and now have left the village. It is a very concerning time for Axel Cobblepot. And as he sees the four of you enter the town, your presence does not spark a flicker in his mind. He does look at you with his bombastic side eye, as he does recognize that you seem relatively well equipped for what may be going on. And so he goes to ask of you for help. Oi, heroes, I need your help with this one. Look, ladies and gentlemen, please talk to them. They can help it. We just got them in here as a part of an exchange program with St. Radric. They're here to help you. Please take care of the situation for me. I cannot think about how to deal with a eloping wagon and horse. Yes, please talk to the heroes. They seem to understand what's going on. They've dealt with things before. They're specialists. Yes, of course.
Okay, not saying this out loud. This is out of character. Did the fatling just pawn his work off on us? Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah, 100%.
Ah, this little fucker.
Look, I feel the need to point out that we kind of really don't have time for this shit. Like, on one hand, I want to come to pound sand, but I'm pretty sure, through context clues I'm being given, I'm fairly certain he's going to have a solution to our problems. I'm not sure how I came to this conclusion, but
you don't have to do shit. I don't know what you're talking about. This is your sandbox, my guy.
At the very least, solving the eloping cart might solve one of our problems. I'm not sure how to solve an eloping cart. That's kind of new to me.
You just want it off, and the immediate solution to their problem is we steal the cart instead. Yeah, because that's going to go so well for us.
I mean, the cart didn't want to be here anyways. What's the problem?
Look, I'm morally obligated to help this, but he is 100% making us do his job for him. So I don't feel bad professionally about that. And that is definitely 100% IRL bias coming into play. I really, really, really hate doing people's jobs for them.
Agreed. I have that same problem.
I don't know how to respond to this guy. Maybe we just have Ogros pick him up and throw him in the river.
I mean, if we're gonna do that, then Just ask Akros to like Hercules swing him somewhere so that we can get on with our lives.
No, we're not murdering the man though.
I didn't say murder him. I just said throw him really hard. Or put him in a barrel or something. I don't fucking know. Would he fit in a barrel? How bad of a halfling is this?
I love these. Would he even fit in one? We need to know. I mean, he probably fit in a barrel. He probably gets stuck in the barrel, but he could fit in a barrel.
I mean, if he gets stuck in the barrel, then he just has barrel armor from now on.
I think you overestimate the height of halflings, but sure. But yeah, so
No.
what do you guys do? You have Axel Cobblepot has come up to you and is trying to pawn off these very concerned villagers.
God, I
to
really
you.
wish we had the cat so bad right now. Because he has no morals. He could just flat out ask the questions I don't feel like I'm allowed to ask.
What
What do you
questions
want to ask?
Yeah.
Like,
I'll do it.
how is this supposed to fucking benefit us? What's in it for us?
All right,
I
so I'm
can't
gonna
ask that
turn to
question.
the halfling
My
until...
job is to help them.
Okay, well, you plug your ears and look away or something.
Plug your ears and look away, says the quote unquote medic.
So I'm just gonna look at the halfling dead in the eye and ask him, "What's in it for us to do your job for you?"
But you're heroes. You're supposed to help out the common folks. I mean, did you just not see that pitchfork put its tines in the dirt, run away? It's got tiny little fucking legs. I'd run off towards that stone tower in the north where that folk's coming in. And you're just gonna sit here and let all these common folks bitch and complain. Miss Jordanson came to me this morning, told me her plate ran away with the spoon. What am I supposed to do about that?
Not make everyday objects sentient?
I didn't do it. It wasn't my idea to do it. It wasn't my plan to just be like waking up one morning and being like, you know what would be really funny? If I turn everything that we have in this village here into a sentient object and just cause a fucking ruckus. You know what it is? I know whose fault this is. It's that damned assistant. Gentry thought he's too young to be bold, but them's the breaks. Major assistant. He's the one that caused all this. If you could find him and fix this, we could be doing it. But I don't know what we could give you. We could money. I don't know.
Transportation.
To where? We could give you a wagon. It's such. I mean, yeah. If you fix this, probably give you whatever you want in the sense of a wagon and a horse. I mean, you could take the one that eloped with the horse.
That works.
Wait, what?
Did you not
No.
hear me say that the horse eloped with the wagon that came to life?
I just needed to rehear that and make sure I heard you right.
Hey, the wagon came to life and said that it didn't like being here and eloped with the horse.
And the horse was okay with this?
It was the horse's idea.
Oh, well, then I don't see the problem.
I do. The fucking wagon eloped with the fucking horse. It's not the only wagon we have, mind you. It's still. The horse and the cart got hitched, they did. Well, it's not
Good
the
for
only.
them. What's the problem here?
Do you not see? But He's just like firing. He's just like pointing at all this crazy shit that's happening with just like mundane objects. There's like a bonfire in the center of the town square where they're throwing these like more erratic sentient objects into the fire that's like surrounded by like uniformed individuals who are just taking like silverware
I need to let
drawers of
someone
like
else take
living
over
forks and
dialogue. I don't want to break
spoons
this poor halfling.
and just throwing them in the fires. They're like, we're trying to control as best we can here, but they blew up Rumbledy Tum Tum Farm for fuck's sake. Hey, what am I supposed to do? We got pitchforks running through the streets. We got forks and spoons running around here and there. We got horses and carts getting hitched. And now we got walking tables doing unpermitted selling of illegal goods. Although I imagine it doesn't look like a straight butter knife. Mate, you got a permit for it. It's just chaos. It all started because of a Thorngate. I don't care if he bolted at 22. He can't be doing this kind of stuff.
All right, Creed, what do you think?
Bree's just gonna kind of side eye everyone else, like,
I mean, for all intents and purposes, you can't just tell him to pound sand. Rex says you can't say that. Did you not just hear that case of silverware? It was singing be our guest, before it got tossed in the fire there. That's pure chaos. That's copyright infringement. We can't have that around here. We don't have enough money to pay them.
Indeed.
So who did you say was responsible for all of this?
Garrett Thorne. Too young to be bold, but that's the break's major assistant. He was the one that we saw that was the last one to cause this whole ruckus, and then he went.
And where is he now?
If I knew, I would have been beating his ass from here to Sunday, because he took 2 of them dwarf thieves and he went and robbed the Major's Tower over on the north side after his mentor, his instructors, just disappeared one day without saying a word to nobody. So, instead of just leaving it well enough alone, he went and stole a bunch of stuff out that tower, and now everyone else done the same. And now we got living forks and spoons in the damn bonfire. As he's having this conversation with you, as he's trying his best to convince you, and he's not doing very well for you to help him. You see a wardrobe come smashing out of a storefront, mug a person, steal their clothes, and run away. Like they shove the clothes into their hangers and then run.
Okay, now I think maybe I'm starting to think we might actually have to do something about this. That was not
Okros is
okay.
already chasing the wardrobe.
Okros, you catch it without a problem as you throw it to the ground.
I carefully reduce it to splinters to avoid damaging clothes.
You easily reduce the splinters with your bare fists as you bring the person back their clothes.
Bree is just standing there in just utter confusion and utter shock.
So, Adarian looks over at Creed, just points at the situation and says, So what's your creed say about that? What do we do about that?
I'm going to be honest with you. That was the scariest thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
This
He's
mess,
like,
I'm just gonna turn to Creed like, what the fuck is that?
he's gonna offhand point it. I'm not sure if you saw. It got all of that man's clothes off of him with no hands. And then it got it all on the hang, including the shoes, inside. With no fucking hands. What the bloody hell do you want me to do about that? What? I have a sword. I don't know. Who do you call for that?
God damn it.
Well, seriously, just tell me I'm wrong. Like, what?
This is just,
Call a
No,
priest?
you're
I don't
on a
know.
roll. I've got nothing to add to this.
it's just
No one writes this.
Mayor Franciel and Rex is just hitting me so bad with these puns. It's just Mayor Franciel, it was an armed robbery. He's armed and dangerous.
Be advised, suspect is 6 feet tall, dark mahogany wood, and armed with Gucci.
My God.
Oh, but in character, like, I don't know who to call here. Like, am I supposed? Who do I send for? For enchanted
doomed to get
armoires,
those hands on Prada.
stripping folks in the street and running off with their clothes. Like,
I'm not sure how to
do we
help you here. This
call-
is not
do
the
we
kind
call-
of magic I specialize in.
I don't even know magic. Oh. And he's gonna do whatever. Nez, what do I do about this?
I was gonna say Dario would probably be the most skilled in magic. I mean, I can identify
I
some
can
stuff,
do
but
an
I'm not sure
Arcana
if.
check. I don't know what that would achieve here, but
Do these things have souls? What do I do here?
Aaron, is there some kind of a check I can roll in this situation?
You can roll Arcana and tell me what you get. But so as you're doing that, as you're studying this, Darian, you're like, okay, there has to be something fucking
Okay, that's
going on.
yeah, no, I rolled an 8.
You can't pick up what is happening. This is too widespread and too chaotic for like regular magic. Something is definitely off-putting. And as Creed is kind of like flabbergasted, he's like flapping his arms around, and he's just like, who you call for that? Nez, as you're looking at him, you can see that there is a hat rack behind him mimicking his movements and mirroring him like a mime.
Man. Hey, Creed, you should check out what's behind you.
He's gonna like slowly lower his arms down and just turn.
You turn, and there's just a hat rack sitting there, frozen stiff. Just looking like a hat rack.
What is it made of?
Made of wood. It's like it's the pole ones you'd have in like a fancy house. It has a bunch of little arms on top.
Creed's gonna reach back like he's taking something out of a pocket and grab one of his hand axes.
It runs away.
Oh, good news! Guess what? I'm gonna throw it.
Roll the hit.
I got a 25.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It goes to run. All of a sudden, it is just sprinting away from you, and you throw this hand axe at it and just cleave it in half as it falls to pieces in front of you.
And Creed just hold his hand and go, "Fuss!" And it's gonna snap back.
Yep. it
Put it back.
the hand axe flies back to your hand and you throw it back in the sheath.
We've gone from almost getting flattened by a green dragon to Akros stopping an armed robbery. And now Creed is sniping hat racks that are running from him.
All right, I have
Can I go back to bed yet?
Etheria, I
You might even call it a hat. trick.
I feel the need to turn my camera on just so I can probably get the look involved for this.
Please.
Darian, I'm beginning to think we might in fact have to get involved in this. There might be a problem in this town.
Yes? Yes.
As he's just rubbing his face like, oh god, we have to actually deal with this.
Damn it, I was hoping to get out of this one.
Look, the quote that comes to mind is from John Marston, which is when you find yourself at the bottom of the hole, hey, the first step is just to simply stop digging. It's like every single time I've been derailed on my quest since I've started playing this character, has been unbelievably insane crap like this. Every fucking time. Hey, here's a town with sentient coat rat.
So,
I mean, what's
Darius
worse?
is gonna look over at Nez and ask him, "Did you bring a flamethrower by chance?"
Yeah, that's what Lucifer is.
Good. Good. That's all.
And what's worse is that as this is all happening, the Armoire robbery being stopped by Okros, the Hat Rack being sniped by Creed, the screaming forks and spoons, Axel Cobblepot pulling out his fucking hair as he's like, what am I supposed to do about it? It's absolute chaos. It just keeps getting worse. I just got hit by a beer mug last night when I was trying to have a pint. It just turned itself on me and started beating the shit out of my face. I can't even have a drink in this place anymore. And you guys all look towards the tavern. As you see, some people are like, there are people boxing, floating fucking beer mugs. But you see, there's one particular person that walks out. He's in a blue tunic with what almost looks like a tannish gold cowl. Pale, ginger, little tipped ears. And he's definitely flushed in the face. He's been drinking a lot. And he seems to be walking out of the bar with a very tall stool walking with him. Looking at another individual, another elf, with long blonde hair pulled back tightly, who seems to be in a vest with white undershirt, nice green linen pants, nice tall boots, very regal looking, as the elf is pinching the brow of his nose, yelling at him, no, this doesn't fucking count as a mimic. As the ginger-haired bard swears up and down that his girlfriend is a mimic barstool and that they are in love. Axel Commapot simply points out to it and goes, now we got bards running away with the barstools. They've already taken the gold pieces and now they're taking my barstools.
Alright. Where's the inn? Definitely going back to bed.
And as you're all standing in the middle of this chaos, as items are alive and people are sounding like the chaos is somewhat manageable at certain points. Some of it is outlandish. Some of it is just absolute debauchery and insane stuff. You have brooms that are sweeping people out of their homes. There are just things that should not be happening that are in most of it is either chaotic and some of it is benign, but for the most part this town is in chaos, and you can clearly see there is a tall stone tower to the north where some of these items are running off back to, and it is surrounded by a thick mist. But at Etherian's suggestion, you think it's best to just stop and take a breather. And at Adarian's question, Axel points out the inn over there. He goes, "It's the Filthy Pig Inn. It's over there. It's got a spot. Hopefully the beds haven't run away. That's the last thing we need is that we got no fucking place to lay down. Now I'm afraid I'm gonna get stripped by no more. What the fuck's going on anymore?" As he's just flustered. He's like, "Hey, they told me this would be an easy gig. I just sit here and make sure everyone's hunky-dory. There's nothing's going on." And as he points out the inn, you see two very proud bards in a wagon being pulled by a very strange-looking horse. The wagon rolls up, and it is full of items, mundane and otherwise. They pull up with smiles on their face from ear to ear, as they already have what looks to be a significantly sized pouch of gold in between the two of them. One of them is in gold and green trimmed tunic with a little vest and a very large leather hat with a massive plumage of feathers of yellow, purple, and green coming off of him, as he is ecstatic that they found all of this at the tower for free, as he's saying this very loudly. And that they should be able to peddle these items. They should sell them. It would make a mint. Be great. The other, sitting next to him, older individual, green and gold frock coat, very strong in his stature, agrees. And no sooner do they park the wagon with their strange-looking horse, get off and go into the inn. The wagon parked about 20 feet away from it. Do the items begin to come alive, jumping out of the wagon and joining the fray of chaos? As you have spatulas and tongs jumping into the fire and pulling out other items that were screaming and throwing them around. You have a sentient shovel digging random holes throughout the grounds. As all of the chaos is happening, these items jumping out and just going out to cause chaos, the two bards simply walk into the inn without a care in the world, the large sack of gold between the two of them. And Axel just turns as he sees it, and he sees the cart full of items that are coming alive and jumping out. And he simply goes, "But is that what are you doing?" As he just starts running towards them, very more waddling aggressively towards them, as he's yelling, as he gets about 10 feet from the cart, takes a plunger right to the face and falls to the ground. Just, it makes that suction sound when it hits him in the square in the mouth. And as you're all in the center of this chaos, the ginger bard walking with the bar stool, the blonde elf trying to tell him not to, the other two bards in festive clothing bringing a cart full of now animated mundane items back to town, as they walk without a care, and now Axel Cobblepot incapacitated by a plunger to the face. You are all surrounded by this chaos as it continues to unfold. And that is where we will end our session for today.
Sorry, my brain's been locked in a permanent state of what the fuck just happened.
Go ahead.
You get used to it.
It'll be a normal state of mind soon.
Yeah, just GG's from the mayor. All right, so let's do a quick breaky downy of the good, the bad, and what the fuck. So we'll start with you, Creed.
Well, Max is dead. That's definitely a bad.
Well, his body's in the broken spire, and you know that he's currently in Zeus's possession, so that's weird.
Good. I'm like 2 for 7 with the gods not being assholes. Definitely good. I think.
I mean, you could have worse odds.
Yeah, I'll say 2.5. Ares seemed pretty cool with me murdering his sister, so I'm gonna say half for that.
I'm gonna say half. That's fair.
This fucking headache that we're gonna have to deal with real quick, and I have a feeling we're gonna have to murder. We're gonna have to murder these bards. I have a feeling. So yeah, not looking forward to the animated tools.
Ah, yes. Darian, Mr. Zoe.
What the fuck just happened?
A really dumb idea I got from a book that turned out way better than expected.
I love where this is going. This is great. This whole concept's just fucking a gold mine for puns and jokes. This is gonna be a great sesh. Good. Good definitely was not having to fight a green dragon in the middle of a fucking hurricane. Bad is that before this is over with, I have a feeling I'm going to have to help rescue this stupid halfling. I kind of just want to leave him lying there with a plunger on his face, honestly.
You wouldn't be the first.
That's about it.
All right, Mr. Nez.
I enjoyed like the lore of the circuit. To be honest, like I thought you explained it at one point, which is why I had to like stop and question it. I'm like, fuck,
no.
did I just forget?
Oh no, absolutely not. That is the circuit is deep lore from the first campaign.
All right.
Do not ask me. I don't know.
I enjoyed Zoe was actually starting to get into it a bit more tonight
Yeah.
as well.
Zoe was flowing.
And then, granted, it was bad, but I still thought it was funny as the Nat ones all night.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
Everyone getting them. Yeah, and then Mr. Rexus.
I personally liked my Circuit of Life pun.
That was good. Spoiling my shit.
But also the Lion King.
Yeah.
I definitely just I mean, not that I enjoy that Creed face planted, but just the fact that he was like, "No, I don't want to be carried," and then he just like instantly was like, "Poof," and I was like, "Okay, carrying you." That was funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm also glad we didn't have to fight a Green Dragon.
Yes. Yes. I actually wanted that to happen, and it didn't, and I was like, that was sad. So my breakdown was the good was definitely getting you guys caught up on lore because most of your characters don't really know what happened and why you're here, besides the gods kind of ruined your existence, and so you're coming to punch them in the face. So kind of explain to you why some of these really crazy things are important is always fun. Giving you guys kind of a glimpse into the crazy amalgamations that go on behind the scenes is always an enjoyable experience. The dream scene was interesting, where you guys essentially got to see the rest of the world that I'm building around this place. How everything kind of flows together. Weird.
Yes, that was very cool.
The bad for me was rolling that nat 1 on the perception for the green dragon. I was very upset about that. Because that was the only thing he could have rolled to not have found you, because he has a +9. So that was really the only thing that could have happened, and that's what happened. And so he just walked the fuck away. My entire combat idea that I had that was going to be really cool just deuced, because he didn't figure out you were underneath the house, which was
The best chance would have been Nameless being here.
He would have like farted or yelled or something. It would have gotten its attention, even though his stealth would have been
Probably.
obscene.
Or just shot it.
Yeah, or just shot
I was
it.
about to say, all of that would have been irrelevant because the second he realized it was walking away, he would have just picked a fight with it.
Oh yeah, 100%. He would have called it like a skinny gecko or something, or just shot it in the butt. Yeah, Nameless would have done it. And then of course the crazy was having this idea for Mill Ruin and being like, oh, let's do something weird, and then coming across this idea and being like, yep, this is gonna be dumb and I'm here for it. So you can thank Carson for getting me the books that have all these ideas in them. So you can blame
Absolutely
her.
an awful idea.
I think yeah, awful idea, super terrible. I was honestly thinking you guys were just gonna be like, and we leave, and we walk to the next town, which I was
Honestly, I was about to go like, my cart,
was
it's not
thinking
worth
about it.
this.
Because I was starting to get really concerned that we were going to get jumped by like 4 more armed wars that started trying to strip us randomly.
It was just one of those things of like, I'm just giving you guys like chaotic examples. And I'm like, anyone else would have been like, no, we're good. Nope, absolutely not. We are level 13 adventurers. We do not need to deal with this. Like, this is absolutely not. But you guys can still have that chance, but you're in the middle of it now. And then the three great things that happened out of that chaotic was the armoire, because in my head it wasn't that funny. It was just like, yeah, dresser comes to life, comes out, beats somebody up, steals their clothes, and runs away. Because it reminded me of the armoire in Beauty and the Beast that has a baseball bat behind a statue. And I was like, that's funny to me. Getting mugged by an armoire, that's great. And then both Mayor Franciel and Okros hitting me with puns back to back on it and fucking killing me where I stood.
You
Was
didn't
great.
even get to finish describing that armoire getting away before Akros was fucking on it.
Oh, yeah, no.
Did you like my little monologue?
Yeah, yes. That just, what am I supposed to do about that? He just stole its clothes and put everything on hangers, including his shoes, with no hands. I have a sword. What do I do?
It's one of those tropes I feel like it's not used enough in media. Is someone just pointing that out? It's like, well, you need to do something. How? One of my favorite book series is the concept of how does humanity on our planet, understanding how to use guns, end up getting us involved in an intergalactic war with starships?
Mm-hmm.
And how do we win against it? And I love those creators. Like, I'm not to fight a cursed armoire that can take people's clothing. I have a sword. I stab people.
This is above my pay grade. This is some SCP
Yeah, like-
shit. Call someone else.
Call someone who can do something about this. That's not me.
Yeah, it's just the ending scene of that town of like describing the two people in front of the tavern, my dear friends Franciel and Onion, as Onion really wants that bar stool. And then, of course, my other two dear friends, Winners and Varric, being the ones that bring the cart of animated mundane items into the town, is on brand, which made it so much greater. Secret cameos, you gotta love them. But yes,
Yes.
so good time. I love it. Like I said, you can just say no to this, but if you don't, it would be way funnier for the bits. So,
Oh, we
you know.
can say no
I'm-
to this, but I would just like to point out that I do double damage to structures and constructs. I'm fairly certain these are technically both.
They,
And
Yeah.
I mean, this is just too weird to walk away from. I can't do it. I gotta know
I'm
what
already
happened
here for it. Yeah.
just I think the coup de grace is that the fact it's like, all right, this is too weird, we can't walk away, and the coup de grace being of Axel Cobblepot running after the bards and taking a plunger to the mouth and just going unconscious.
My character just is standing there watching him get mouth plunged and just kind of like head cocked, half smiling, like, this is funny.
This is good. This is fun. This is a good time. But that's all I have. Thank you so much for attending my definitely serious campaign about a post-apocalyptic area after the gods ravaged lands, where we have animated plungers and armoires committing robbery and assault. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to my players, Mr. Blackbird playing Creed, the Tiefling Paladin.
Pleasure to have you.
Our dear new player Zoe playing a Darien, the Warlock Yonti.
Oh, yeah, me. Hi. Thanks, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, still thinking about plunging halfling.
plunging halfling.
Our dear
Hidden
friend Stealth Rage
armoire.
playing Nez the Artificer Changeling.
Until next time.
And last but certainly not least, our dear friend Rex is playing the Lion Folk Barbarian Okros,
Good day to you, everybody.
who will forever be known as the killer of armoires. And with that, I
Who you
am
gonna call the Demolition Man?
I am Grim Hour Productions, the dungeon master of this fantastical mind's eye adventure, and we'll see you all next time. Bye bye, everybody.
You have a good one.
Bye.
Akros, we need to get you a WWF belt. A Wood Wrestling Federation belt.